Good Thursday afternoon, guys. This is the Brian Gould Show Sports Edition on 444 Radio. Happy, joy. It's Thursday.
Throwback. Happy, joy, huh?
That's right. It is Throwback Thursday. Hopefully we have another participant for that later on in the show.
Hopefully.
Otherwise, it's just you, yourself, and you playing.
Uh-oh.
I'm your host, Brian Gould. Of course, got Jay with me today.
I thought the fantasy guru himself was coming in.
He'll be here hopefully momentarily. Fingers crossed, but I think he's still 40 minutes out.
Ooh.
Maybe less. We'll see. For you baseball fans, last night we saw absolutely no movement. All the teams that needed to win lost, and all the teams that aren't in it won last night in the good old playoff hunt. So we lost a day in the baseball race here, but the standings remain the same. They're still stagnant. Of course, Boston, Cleveland, Texas, all leading the way in their divisions. Toronto and Baltimore still holding on to the last wild card spots there. Detroit and Houston both sitting a game out. They both won last night. They needed to win, but there's 11 days to go in the hunt for October. Seattle still lingering out there, as well as the Yankees. Yankees win again over Tampa now. Tampa just can't seem to pull the nose up on that. That's 3 in a row that they lost to the Yankees. So if you're a Yankees fan, you're kind of cheering this on and doing backflips. If you're a Tampa fan, you can't exactly say go Rays right now. So it's been a rough season for Rays fans. Just watching the ups and downs and the injuries and everything else. They look good and they get a good push every now and then, but then it seems like out of nowhere they just go stale. The Yankees, like I said, are still in it, and Kansas City's sitting 5 games out with 11 days to go, so not very likely that they'll pull that off. But the Yankees, the Mariners, and the Astros and Tigers are all creeping in right there. Look out Baltimore, look out Toronto. Better turn it up a little bit there. Over in the National League, Washington, the Cubs, and the Dodgers all leading in their divisions. Again, the teams that needed to win last night did not. The Mets, San Francisco, and St. Louis all lost last night. Actually, the Mets have lost 3 in a row to Atlanta.
That's where Evan is. He's on suicide watch.
That's what it is. I swear it is. Probably drinking his Pepto right now. Of course, Pittsburgh, Miami, sitting 3.5 and 4 games out. Pittsburgh's won 2 in a row. They're kind of back in the race there a little bit. 3.5 games out with a little over 10 days to go. Not likely they'll make it. I don't give them the nod on that. Again, I think it's just going to come down to the Mets and St. Louis. I think San Francisco fizzles out here pretty soon. If you're a Mets fan, you're liking what's coming out of New York, or not necessarily New York, but what's coming out with reports with Tebow. I was reading some stuff this morning.
It up?
He's doing well. He's getting better every day, and that's what you want to see, progress.
He's always been one of those guys that's better in live action. You know what I mean? He never practiced well, but you threw him in a game, and he performed.
Yep. If you're a Tebow fan, then I'm pulling for him.
Evan's never here when there's positive news. You notice that?
Yeah, I'm pulling for him. I really am. I hope the kid makes it, and I think he'll do just fine. Like I said, he's progressing, and you do want to see that as a recruit, someone that picked him up and kind of is hoping for the best case scenario out of him. And we all know he didn't make it in the NFL, and he found possibly a good home in baseball. And guys like that are just good guys should find something somewhere. And I'm trying to not be so vague, but not a Florida fan. Yeah, not a Florida fan, but it's just watching this kid go through the hurdles that he had to in the NFL and all the criticism that he got and still gets.
Man, even if he only gets called up and gets to play one season.
Yeah.
How many people, there's not a lot.
There's not.
Who can say they've played both in the NFL and Major League Baseball, and he's won a Heisman, and he has a national championship. I mean, that pretty much will give him to being one of the greatest athletes of all time.
Athletic-wise, yes.
Even if you're not a Gator fan or a Tebow fan, I mean, it'll be kind of hard at that point to to deny it, unless you're Joe.
Yeah, no, Debbie Downer.
I just don't like Tebow.
If he has a semi-decent career, so he plays eight seasons, because he's, what, 29 now?
Mm-hmm.
So put him in his mid to upper 30s, 36, 37 range, and does okay.
Okay.
You call him one of the greatest athletes of all time, ever.
You don't think so?
Just throwing it out there.
That's what I'm saying. I think,
yeah.
I think just making it
Just
kind of
making
shows it, because, I mean, like I said, how many people can play both those and can claim that they have a Heisman, and 2 national championships? I mean, he's
solid kid, solid.
That's a nice little resume.
Not too bad. Do you put him in a Hall of Fame hunt? What does he got to do to get in the Hall of Fame in baseball?
In baseball?
Yeah.
That's
he's lost
out of my depth there. I don't know.
He's lost 7 seasons. I mean, he's 29, so he's behind the 8 ball already as far as having a super career. But you know how, like, Terrell Davis didn't play long, but won a couple championships.
Yeah.
And there was talk,
well, he was always injured, so he didn't,
he didn't play enough to quite qualify for a Hall of Fame career, but he's got some rings and
credentials.
Yeah. So if he ends up on a Mets team that wins a World Series and then eventually isn't there a season or 2 later, do we give him...
What if just by coincidence he joined the dynasty and they win the next 3 World Series?
That'd be crazy.
I'm just saying, like, what? And it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with him.
Right.
But he's there with the team and he's
when
playing.
When it happens.
And he just pops through. Do you know what I mean? What is that?
Then you kind of have to talk Hall of Fame, because he was part of, depending on what he does. I mean, if he hits for 30 home runs, that's still a pretty good...
I think even if he just has a decent career, he'll be, like, not Hall of Fame, but he'll be looked at, like I said, the athlete. Like you said, if he goes 8 years where he averages 18 home runs a year with a 248 batting average and 70 RBIs every season, that'll probably...
I think that gets him in.
Really?
It might.
Oof.
Again, the athleticism's probably a weighing factor, but well, maybe not, because in baseball, some of those guys that are waiting 20, 30, 40 years before their name even...
That's true. That's what I'm saying. The baseball thing's a little outside my...
Yeah.
Plus, it's a little crazy anyway.
Not a big fan of their process of certain names just not getting in. Some of them should just be no-brainers first time. I get there's the voting process, but, I mean, if a guy's name has been on the list for 20-some seasons or 20-some years, put him in. I mean, he made the list. You got to let him in at some point, I would imagine.
I think so.
Or an honorable mention Hall of Fame list. Clemson tonight at Georgia Tech.
Ooh, upset alert.
You know what? I got a weird feeling on that. That line moved down to 9.5 points. Clemson being the favorite. Over-under's at 58.
Ooh.
That kicks off at 7:30 on ESPN.
I don't think it'll be a 10-point game.
It
should be on paper, obviously, but...
the way Clemson's played their first 2 games, and then they had their big blowout game this last game, it's a Georgia Tech team that has nothing to lose but to hopefully upset a Clemson team that went to the national championship this year, has been highly ranked, and then finally dropped in the rankings. They're both coming into this 3-0. Huge ACC game right here. And, if Georgia Tech does pull this game off...
It changes the whole ACC.
That whole spectrum. Now that whole crew that they hired for the 3-way tie...
About a 4-way tie.
Yeah, you could essentially have that. Ideally. What do you like the final score?
Man, I don't know.
I'm looking at that 9.5. Can Georgia Tech win by 3? Do they win by a field goal? Do they win dramatically at the end, or do they just win outright?
I could see, I could see Georgia Tech winning. Something like 34-31.
Or what if it's more lopsided, like a 28-6? 2 field goals out of Clemson. They can't get the offense going.
I think that's the most unlikely thing that happens, but... I mean, I think Clemson probably will win, and they'll probably squeak by, probably. But I can't see them winning by 10.
Georgia Tech pulls this game off. Obviously, you got to talk about them being in the top 25. there's a lot of undefeated teams, and I'm looking at the list. That's why I'm kind of stagnant here. The Yellow Jackets 3-0. Just their most recent win was against Vandy, 38-7. So they can score, and there's a reason why the odds maker has, Vegas has that over under at 58. I could see Georgia Tech just showing. If Georgia Tech wins, huh? I have a feeling that if Georgia Tech wins, then they win lopsidedly. I don't see them squeaking it out. I see Clemson squeeze.
I say 31-28. So I said 59. You just said the line was what?
58.
There you go.
I could see Georgia Tech winning literally like a 28-6 or 34-9, 34-14.
You think Clemson's offense is that bad?
Considering, I think their defense is that bad. I think their defense ends up giving up a lot more points than what's going to be credited to Georgia Tech's offense. I think Georgia Tech could win that game lopsidedly. I have a weird hunch on that, and we'll find out tonight. I could be absolutely wrong, but I mean, there's 4 games this weekend, coming up for NCAA football that will or could impact the whole playoff picture that I picked out. And number 11, Wisconsin at number 8, Michigan State. Now, State wins. Then
I think State wins.
Then the 2-team Big Ten conference now becomes 3. You got Michigan, Ohio State, then obviously Michigan State. But if the Badgers win, then they go as the 3rd team in talks for the Big Ten conference. And now you're talking a 3-way in the Big Ten in that scenario.
Could there be a 4-way? Are they all?
Yeah, actually.
I mean, if Wisconsin beats Michigan State, but Michigan State beats Michigan, but Michigan beats Ohio State, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're getting all tied up.
That could easily happen, though.
Yeah, you're getting all tied up at the top.
And then what happens because everyone beat everybody, so you can't hold the...
I think they actually do like what Evan was saying yesterday. They break it down by points.
Do they do points?
Yeah.
They don't do ratings in that conference? I thought that's what they did. I might be wrong, but I thought they did.
I think they go to
ratings
points
based.
They
go points.
Like if Michigan has beaten Ohio State, but Ohio State beat Michigan State, Michigan State beat.
I might be thinking of a wrong conference. I'm trying to remember. I thought last year, the year before, when it was coming down to the end, if Ohio State, there could have been, if it would have worked out a certain way, they would have had to go to the top 25 to tie break it. But maybe I'm thinking of a different conference.
Yeah, I think that was. I don't remember who that was. No, Big Ten usually it's clear cut, but if Wisconsin wins, regardless of who wins this game between Wisconsin and Michigan State, I guess where I'm going with it is right now it's Michigan and Ohio State that's talked about the most. The winner of this game has to be thrown in the hat for the third head for the Big Ten Conference, and I have a feeling that Michigan State will win that game. It's in East Lansing. It'll be a really good game. I mean,
now you've got me kind of wanting Wisconsin to beat Michigan State, and then Michigan State to beat you guys. No offense, but then you guys to beat Ohio State.
Yeah,
to just kind of completely just
that leaves Wisconsin undefeated.
We'll say, and then Wisconsin loses somewhere along
to Nebraska. Somebody
they get upset.
Yeah,
because they
or Iowa, whoever,
and then boom, everyone has one loss, and everyone beat everybody.
Dang. Then you got a 4-way.
That would be awesome. And then because the reason I like that kind of stuff happening is because it just pushes it faster to get the more playoff teams, because that's what we need.
That's exactly it.
So the more times that's how we got to here. Things kept happening where teams that should have got to the title didn't.
Constantly moving in that direction.
So if we can get a 4-way tie, that would be awesome. And the same thing in the ACC. So you got to cheer for Georgia Tech tonight. I mean, if everybody who wants the playoffs to expand, that's the kind of stuff that needs to happen.
You're right. You're exactly right. You have to pull for stuff like that. It's unfortunate because someone gets left out legit. That's a legit contender or has a legit argument saying, hey, we should be in there just as much as the team you picked over us.
Think about how awesome it's going to be, though, dude, in the next couple of years when they change it to 8 teams.
That would be great.
I mean, it should be more than that, but just getting 8 will be so much more fair.
Now, if you take it to 8, do you start the college football season like 1 week, maybe 2 weeks sooner, so there's not so much at the end. Because now you're not even talking national title game in January. Now you're pushing like February.
No.
With an eight team.
The title game now is like the 7th or 8th of January, 10th.
It's usually the second Monday.
Right.
So if you're
you'd have to do, actually, no, you start earlier.
Yeah, you start like a week
because
early.
instead of giving everybody 3 weeks off in between the conference game, I'm talking about the big games. I know the little teams start playing bowls early, but
Right.
I mean for the big, let's be real, for the people actually.
Yeah, the real bowl games are January 1st through the.
What's what I'm saying, and then
5th,
the big
6th.
conference title games like the SEC and the ACC and that, they're like the first weekend in December normally.
Right.
So you're getting
first, second weekend somewhere in
So
there.
you're getting 3-4 weeks before. So you know what? You roll that back. You give everybody a week off, one bye week, and then you start the playoffs that next week.
I wonder if they do that just for the sake of booking the schools to certain cities and to certain areas and allowing fans to get tickets and everything else. I wonder
They
if
might.
that might be the.
But you know what? For the big bowls, people that's not. I don't think that'll be an issue.
No.
I understand what you're saying. For the littler schools, the littler
Right.
bowls, you're gonna want more time. But that's not gonna matter. If you're gonna if I tell you, are you gonna go to the playoffs? If you're gonna go, you're gonna go, whether it's a week early or not, right?
Right.
I
wonder. Yeah. Planning wise too probably helps if I have 2 weeks to prep for it, find a babysitter, blah 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 blah.
Yeah, but if you know now, like if they announce, hey, next season this is the way it's changing, you already know.
Right.
Then I don't know. I think 8 teams. Really, it should be 12 probably, which would be hard to do. Maybe 16
If you go to 12, man, that's such a.
or 10. Maybe the top 10, because then that'd give everybody the incentive to try to get into the top 10 all year long.
I like 8. How would you roll with 10 though? How would you see? I mean, 1 and 2 gets a bye at some point. You'd have to almost do like a 1.
Why one couldn't play 10, 2, 9, 3?
No, it doesn't work out.
3, 8.
Because then you have an odd number. You have one team sitting out.
How? That's an even number.
Right. If you do 1, 10, 2, 9,
3, 8,
3,
4,
8.
7, 3, 6, 4, 5.
Yeah, and then
Everybody
you've got
played each
5
other.
teams left. You've got an odd number.
All right, then you do the bye weeks.
Unless you do two buys or do 4. Man.
All right, then 12. Then you go from 8 to 12, like you're saying.
Okay. Wow, 12.
I don't think you could get over 12, but
I don't know if you could get that high. I think you get too many complainers. Saying
Everybody
there's
complains
too many
about everything.
games, too many games, kids get hurt. No, they don't.
well, let's at least get to 8.
I mean, heck, look at the March Madness. Now it's 68 teams or 70 because they have 2
They
extra.
have the pre-rounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on. But at least they got to 4. I'd love to see them get to 8. I mean, if you were to literally take the top 8 right now, 1 through 8, let's pull this up here. You'd have Bama playing Michigan State.
Oh, see?
Ohio State versus Stanford, assuming you go according
Yeah, let's
to
just say that.
high-low.
Yeah, I know we're way early, but,
Louisville versus Houston,
think of it. These games sound awesome.
and Michigan versus Clemson, 4 versus 5.
Those sound like some good games.
All right, hold on. Let me grab a pen here. Let me seed this out.
We should do this every week
You know what?
just to see
Why
what the
not?
playoffs could be.
So Bama and Michigan State, who wins that game?
God, you know what? I almost want to say Michigan State, but I'm going to say Bama for this week.
Okay, so Bama over MSU. So that puts Bama. Then you go to Ohio State versus Stanford.
Oh. I don't want to say it, but I guess Ohio State right now.
Mm-hmm. Then you go 3 versus 6, which would be Louisville versus Houston.
Louisville.
Really, that quick?
I just think right now that quarter they're nasty. If he
right.
stays rolling like that.
We're playing out your picks here. And then 4 versus 5, Michigan versus Clemson.
Michigan.
Versus Clemson. And check this out. So with what you've got, then you've got Bama versus Louisville and Michigan versus Ohio State. So Big Ten teams.
Look at that rematch
crashing. Yes.
in the playoffs. Think now. How does college? Like, look what we just did. I feel like if me and you sat down in front of the NCAA and did just this, and then you just said, and that's not even the championship game.
Right. Granted, one of us being Michigan or Ohio State, has to play in the Big Ten championship just to be.
Yeah, but if they still finish in the top 8, I mean, you still could.
And then we could play each other again to go.
If
to
Ohio
the
State was
title.
1, and you guys were 2 heading into, I'm just saying for example, heading into that game. Well, you guys have to play each other first, though, don't you?
We have to play each other to see who would go to the Big Ten title game because we're in the same division.
Oh, okay.
So hypothetically, say Ohio State wins, and this actually fared out for Florida a handful of years back, where Michigan played Ohio State 1-2. They called it the Judgment Day game. It was a Saturday night game, and the final score was 34-30. It was a close game. It was 3 points, 34-31. Ohio State won. Then on Monday morning, when the rankings came out,
Michigan only dropped like 1 or 2 spots.
We didn't move because it was such a close game back and forth. They kept Ohio State 1. They kept Michigan 2. But because at the time we didn't have a Big Ten title game, whoever won the Big Ten record-wise won. Florida beat whoever they played in the SEC title game. Therefore, they went from 3-2 and leapfrogged us because we're sitting stale with no conference title game. And that's
I remember that. You guys,
Florida got
you guys
into the
were in
national
2, but
championship.
you knew in the next week that it was over.
Yeah.
Like you weren't going to hang on to 2.
Right.
Yeah.
Because and then
I remember
some
that
people
now.
are like, that's the way to go, and then other people are like, no, put Michigan and Ohio State in the national championship game, and they're like, oh, no one wants to see that again. I'm like, dude, we just played the best game ever.
Really? Because in '96, that's why Florida got to play Florida State in the national title game.
Yeah.
A rivalry game.
Right.
They wanted the ratings.
Right. Why not? And then,
of
course,
oops.
Florida goes in and destroys Ohio State. So now,
Florida State.
Well, I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. 06.
Yeah. So you've got Ohio State and Michigan head to head. Who wins that? If they're to play each other right now.
Michigan.
And then on the other side, you took. Did you make a pick yet?
No.
No.
I would take
Bama.
Louisville over Bama.
So you've got Michigan
Right now.
and Louisville in the national title game.
And Louisville upsets Michigan.
Is it an upset?
No, wouldn't be, I don't think?
Not really. No. I think whoever we play out of that side, I don't think there is much of an upset when it comes to a national title game when you do it this way, because both teams earned it.
That's true.
Yeah.
But think how awesome that would be right there. We just gave you a scenario if we popped out to 8 teams instead of 4.
I like that. Because if you go with the AP top 4 right now, Bama, Ohio State, Louisville, and Michigan, then you've got Clemson, Houston, Stanford, and Michigan State sitting outside. Like, hey, hello.
That's terrible.
Right. And even if you go to 8, like you're saying, you look at 9 through 12, Washington, Texas A&M, Wisconsin, and Georgia, with Florida State right there at 13.
Yeah, I think 12 is the magic number, but I agree with you. There's going to be people that are complaining. But making it 8 only adds 1 more week.
I'm down with 8. I like that.
And
scenario.
to add 1 more week to get all those extra badass games in there?
Why not? Why not? The other couple games that I wanted to talk about before we go to break here is Georgia, number 11 Georgia at Ole Miss, Mississippi. The SEC belongs to Bama right now, but for a win for Ole Miss, this could quickly make us forget their loss that they just recently had and think twice about them getting back into the hunt for that national title push. Now, if Georgia wins, which they are the favorite, I could easily see Georgia making a case, for that playoff picture as well. But they have to win some very key games.
Georgia scares me more than Tennessee as a Florida fan. This season.
You know what? I would agree with that.
Like, I don't know what it is. I know all the hype, the preseason hype for Tennessee and all that, but I don't know what it is, man. Even though Georgia's pulling all these out by the skin of their teeth, they still look better to me. I don't know, just in my eyes.
They've got a certain finesse, certain swag to them. That
Tennessee looks like they're winning in spite of themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Tennessee's 6.5 point favorite against Florida, which I think is ridiculous.
Wow, are you serious?
Yeah.
Almost a full 7?
Yeah, I think that's ridiculous. At most 2.
Boy, you might have to take Florida on that.
Yeah.
Because even if Florida loses, I can't see. Maybe because of the backup quarterback situation, and to be fair, we don't know. That could implode on Florida. You just don't
It
know.
very well could. You know what? That is a really bad scenario.
Coaching there, though, seems like that's not going to happen. They seem like that's actually a strength now, again, for Florida.
It seems like that if they're going to hang in that game and win, it'll be because of coaching.
Yeah.
There's going to be a couple really good plays.
Well, and their defense, because they have the best defense in the nation.
Their defense is immaculate, yeah. But I think your coach does that one end around play, the one screen deep ball pass. They'll pull off one or two doozies on Tennessee, and Tennessee won't be ready for it. It's bound to happen. Number 9, Washington at Arizona. Now Washington is a little off the radar. They're 3-0. No one's really talking about them at all. They are in the top 10. The big key game that they have is Pac-12 North rival Utah, and they win. They've got a legit shot at being in that talk, for the playoff picture. And again, no one's talking about them right now. A quiet Washington team finishes 11-1, 12-0. You got to kind of toss them in there, and it seems like there's always that one team that you're just unsure of. Right now for us, it's Houston. We're kind of all quietly on the Houston bandwagon pulling for them because we want to see somebody different up there.
Yeah.
But Washington is one of those teams where it's like at the end of the season, they could be sitting there at like 4 or 5, undefeated, or possibly with a 1 loss, but winning the Pac-12 title game, and we don't know anything about them. Like, hey, there's an 11-1 team sitting here that we don't know anything about, and they just won a Pac-10 title game. So that's a very lethal thing, but yet favorable thing if you're Washington right now as well. Oklahoma State at 15 Baylor. And, as of now, the Big 12 is pretty much out of the playoff picture. So is this a meaningless game? Not exactly. It could change over the next, couple months for the Pac-12 or Big 12. It's the quality of wins for these teams. Baylor winning out definitely is kind of like the Washington team that I just talked about, where but they've got to do it in quite loud and heavy fashion. They have to blow teams out to be in that hunt and that talk. And those are the 4 games that are on my map this weekend that is really going to either make or break a playoff picture. These teams that need to win quite favorably and really solidify their spots in the rankings, because with as many teams losing ranking-wise over the last 3 weeks, now's the time to buckle down and show who you are and where you're coming from and where you plan on going. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk some basketball stuff and more football news. This is the Brian Gould Show, Sports Edition on 444 Radio. We'll be right back.
Gulfgate, Sarasota, it's time to eat, and there's only one place to go. Ham Heaven and Devil Dogs, 2647 Mall Drive in Gulfgate. Try the one-of-a-kind filet mignon sliders or the award-winning Reuben sandwich, voted best in the state of Florida. Ham Heaven and Devil Dogs is open Monday through Saturday till 3 a.m. So after the bars close, you can get some of the best food in Sarasota. Call in and place your order today at 941-923-2514. That's 941-923-2514. Check them out online at hamheavenanddevildogs.webs.com or on facebook.com/HH&DD.
This is Chuck from the BS Show. I wanted to take some time to talk about a great charity organization, the Honor Flight. This organization flies our veterans to Washington, D.C. to visit those memorials dedicated to honor the service and sacrifices of themselves and their friends. Please come out and drink some beers at Hurricane Mike's on the last Saturday of every month from 1 to 6. Hurricane Mike's has a guest bartender at each event, 50-50 raffles, liquor baskets, and silent auctions. The bartenders even donate all the tips they make that day. Hurricane Mike's is located at 2639 Mall Drive in Gulfgate. Last month, Hurricane Mike's raised over $1,100 for the Honor Flight. From everyone here at 444 Radio and Hurricane Mike's, we want to thank you for your support of our vets.
Hey guys, how we doing? This is Evan from the Bee and the Soup Bed Show. I'm here with Rita from J Dub's Brewing Company, and we're in studio. How are we doing today, Rita?
Good, how are you?
Excellent. Hey, I know you have a fantastic brewery over there. Please tell me a little bit about it.
The brewery itself has a tasting room. It has 10 tap lines, so you can find anything that you want, from a light to a dark flavor.
So whatever you like, you can get it?
Absolutely, we got a flavor for you.
Perfect. Also, tell me a little bit about the beer garden I've been hearing so much about.
We got a big backyard out back. We're kid-friendly, we're dog-friendly, so you can come bring your family and friends and just have a good time, play some games, and drink some beer.
Excellent. And then you guys got food?
Absolutely. We got food trucks every day around 5 o'clock. We're open Wednesday through Sunday, noon to midnight.
Excellent. Hey, I hear a rumor that you guys do something cool over there on Wednesdays.
We do. We have free yoga on Wednesday evening starting at 6:30. Come hang out and drink a beer and stretch it out.
And that sounds like a great way to spend a Wednesday, I'll tell you. It's 1215 Mango Avenue, Sarasota, Florida, 941-955-2739. And what about social media?
Go to jdubsbrewing.com and you'll find everything right there.
You guys are by far the best brewery in town, and we're proud to have you guys as our sponsor. Come on out there, have a drink with us, and we'll sit around and have a good time.
Cheers, guys.
Hey, this is Paulie from the BS Show. When I'm out and about, having too many, it happens to us all, there's only one cab service I call. It's my ride. 941-400-6606. No more 3-time surcharges. No more drivers that don't speak English, don't know where you're going. They pick you up, they take you home safely, clean cars. They're professionals. They know exactly what they're doing. And when you're riding with My Ride, don't forget to mention the BS Show, 20% off your ride. Chucky, on occasion, will have too much.
Not me, Paul.
These guys are the best. They're what you want to call. They will take care of you. 941-400-6606. My Ride. It's not your ride. It's not his ride.
My ride.
It's my ride.
Hello, this is Captain Sherman of Paradise Boat Tours, and if you're looking for a great adventure on our beautiful local waters, then we are the boat tour for you. Check out our website at seadolphins.com. We leave 7 days a week from Bradenton Beach Pier on beautiful Anna Maria Island. It's fun for the whole family, and yes, we see wild dolphin 95% of our tours. Paradise Boat Tours. Call us at 941-465-8624. Like us on Facebook or go to seadolphins.com. Here, Flipper.
So, Evan, you want to make the other announcement? I know you're excited and happy.
We do have a fantastic new sponsor, absolutely. We are now very lucky to have Rico's Pizza as a sponsor for us. 6547 Gateway Avenue in Gulfgate. They're open from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m., 7 days a week. They've been there 17 years. Jump anywhere. Online, ricospizza2go.com. Give them a phone call at 941-922-9604. We did find out today that you mentioned the 444 Radio or the BS show from 444 Radio, you will get 20% off your tab. Give them a phone call, guys, 941-922-9604 or ricospizza2go.com.
How you doing? This is Chuck from the BS Show. I would like to tell you about a great company, Sarasota Sign Machine, LLC, the exclusive sign and print sponsor for 444 Radio. A sign of quality you can trust, located at 601 North Washington Boulevard, celebrating 6 years in business and over 20 years of experience in Sarasota. If you need signs, banners, vehicle magnets, custom design, neon repair, business cards, printing, and more, trust the Sarasota Sign Machine. Look, let's be honest, you have so much more to think about when running your own business. Call us at 941-302-4275. Check us out on Facebook or at sarasotasignmachine.com. A sign of quality you can trust. Tell them the BS Show sent you.
Evan, we've lived here 6 months and this bathroom still looks terrible. You're supposed to help me remodel it by now.
I know. You just know how busy I am, though.
Busy? We've got to get this done. If I can't do it because I don't have time and you don't have time, what are we going to do?
I know who to call.
Hello, my name is Stephen Dennis. I own a business here in town called Needaman2 LLC. My email address is needaman2@gmail.com. My number is 941-232-2776. Again, that's 941-232-2776.
Oh my gosh, this looks amazing.
What a great idea.
Come out to J-Dub's Brewery on Saturday, September 24, 2016 from 6 to 10 p.m. for Art Rhymes and Beer, a music and art series that features artists, musicians, and local businesses joining together for a charitable cause. A silent art auction and raffle benefits Any Given Child Sarasota, an organization that is changing young lives through the arts in Sarasota School. Art Rhymes and Beer is sponsored by Art and Frame of Sarasota, Kimmel Lumber, and Bobcat Disposal. For more information, go to facebook.com/artrhymesandbeer or email artrhymesandbeer@gmail.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Sean Stringer. Me and Dr. Philip Nikeo are the newest members of the 444 radio lineup. We'll cover weight loss, health issues, mental health issues, and we'll talk with top health, wellness, and personal development gurus in the industry. You can even call in with your questions and much, much more. Trust me, I'm a doctor. Wednesday nights from 7 to 9 on 444 radio.
Good Thursday afternoon. We are back. This is the Brian Gould Show, Sports Edition on 444 Radio. We have Murdoch in the studio, just walking in. Hey, yo. You grab that other headset.
Are you taking a little survey?
And unplug that one. Yes, that's right, The Outsiders. I just watched that last night.
I was going to say, I thought I'd get a little respect from Brian over there with the wrestling.
Yeah. No, unplug the red from that one, and then plug the black to the black.
Why has it got to be about color, Brian?
Yeah, it's.
What are you, a Disney movie costume?
Yeah, no kidding. No, I just watched that last night. It's funny that you said that because on the WWE Network, JBL does this Legends thing where he sits down with the guys, and he brought in Hall and Nash and talked about their run with WWE and WCW and blah blah blah. So yeah, that's always a hey yo.
That is the reason why I do it.
Just before you came in, we were going over the playoff picture for college football, and I picked 4 games that are going to make or break.
Yeah, see how his would go.
Yeah, I'm going to roll this right out to you. But one game, that jumps out at me is number 11 Wisconsin at number 8 Michigan State, and right now everyone's talking about Ohio State and Michigan in the Big Ten. The winner of that game gets to be third on the map for the Big Ten because they're all going to be undefeated. So, looking at the playoff picture right now, if we were to expand it, which me and Jay did from 4 to 8, if the playoffs were to start this weekend, you'd have number 1 Alabama against Michigan State, Louisville versus Houston, Ohio State versus Stanford, Michigan versus Clemson. Who wins between Bama and Michigan State?
Well, Bama wins that game.
Louisville versus Houston.
Oh, yeah. You stumped him.
Yeah, I like both those programs where they're standing right now.
3 versus 6. Louisville versus Houston.
The numbers are. It's just a number.
Right.
It's
seeding.
You weigh 200 pounds. I weigh 290 pounds. You and I are going to run to the stop sign. If it's just a number, if they just look at a number, they're going to pick your number. They're not going to take in consideration, I ran 17 miles a day for a decade. They're not going to see that you broke your leg. They only see a number.
Yep.
I'm not a big number guy.
It's a good point.
I like Louisville.
Louisville, okay. Number 2 versus number 7. Ohio State versus Stanford.
Ohio State.
Michigan versus Clemson.
Michigan.
Boy, I think we're dead on so far.
Bama versus Louisville.
Bama.
Ohio State versus Michigan right now.
This weekend?
We're gonna do this every week. We're gonna change the playoffs.
Whatever the top 8 is, we'll rerun this back.
Just to make you want the extra 4 teams.
Right now.
Yeah,
Ohio State.
Okay.
Ooh.
So you're different there.
Different on both those
Both
two.
of them. So you've got Ohio State and Bama in the national title game. Who wins?
Right now.
Right now. There's that.
And
I know.
It's always at this time, too.
It's the weirdest thing.
It's always at this time.
You're
when
right.
we come back from break, it's always at 12:45. That is so weird.
I didn't tell you guys that I have some baggage I bring in with me
Yeah.
when I come to the doors. Yeah, I've been looking at some livestock and getting a priest to come with me.
Yeah, you're going to say Ohio State.
I am going to say Ohio State. It is Ohio State right now.
Right now. All right. So there we go. Jay had Louisville and Michigan in the national title game with Louisville winning. Going through that bracket. But anyways, again, getting back to the college football thing there, there's a couple games that just are going to make or break. How about Washington sitting at 9 quietly? No one's talking about them right now.
Who?
Washington. Sitting 9. They're at Arizona. They get that win. All they have to worry about is Utah in the north for the Pac-12, and look out.
That is the other team to talk about. It's Washington. They're quiet.
And that's exactly what I was saying. They're gonna, next thing you know, by the end of the season, you've got a quiet Washington team that's 11-1 maybe,
Mm-hmm.
and wins the Pac-12, and then out of nowhere you're like, wait a minute, who are these guys? I mean, they're here.
Washington
Whoa.
has a defense. They're not prolific. They're not on TV every weekend.
No.
And it's quiet. They have the best defense in the country, arguably. And no one knows about it because they're Washington.
They haven't seen him play.
And they're going to use that to their advantage. Michigan State has been doing that, for a while, and they just broke some glass this last weekend and said, hey, we're here. They'd rather everybody not know that they're there.
Yeah.
And, Washington's going to be real quiet about it. You're going to blink, and that's the team that's on the cusp, trying to get into the playoffs.
Yes. Well, I think we can all agree. I mean, the Big 12 is pretty much out of the picture. Oklahoma State at Baylor, and right now, to even say the Big 12 and playoff picture in the same sentence doesn't make any sense. But the next couple months, I think, could change that. But quality of wins is going to be the issue for Baylor. They literally have to blow teams out by 40, 50 points every game in order to even be talked about in the top aspect of that top 25. They have to just annihilate everybody they play. But moving on, I do want to talk some basketball news. WNBA playoffs kicked off last night. Phoenix Mercury did defeat the Indiana Fever 89-78. Atlanta Dream over the Seattle Storm 94-85. So both Phoenix and Atlanta move on to the next round. Phoenix will take on the New York Liberty, and Atlanta will take on the Chicago Sky. Now, before the game started for Indiana, the entire team came out and took a knee during the national anthem.
So you're saying that everybody in the building took a knee?
Indiana Fever.
Right.
Yeah, no. What this is doing is it's snowballing. Okay, this earthquake that Kaepernick started last month is now getting to basketball.
People love trendsetters.
Yeah, and it's getting to basketball now, and now the NBA is like, holy crap.
Did you see South Park? Have you seen the new season yet?
No, I haven't.
The first episode, they literally come on and they're all. It looks like they're getting ready to go to the basketball game, and they got the commentators talking about it, and then it basically turns like, will Heidi Turner sit down for the national anthem? And then like all the parents on the edge of their seat, they got like money, and Randy's like, I got $100 as she sits down, and they're all like on the edge. And then once the national anthem plays and they see who sits down, the crowd goes crazy or boos who sits down, and then once it's over, everybody leaves before the game actually starts because no one cares about the actual game. They just care to see who's sitting down. That's pretty much where we're headed.
Yeah. Well, the NBA's freaking out right now because teams are starting to say, well, since the Fever did it, we're going to do it, and the commissioner's like crapping his pants.
I mean,
he's happy he has a job.
At what point? It's not the message. So
it is now,
but
especially with what's going on.
I think that it can also be perceived as kind of following You mentioned just a trend. It's popular to do. You get put on television. How many of these guys are really?
How much of it's popularity? Because if you think about protesting since the beginning
That's what
of
I'm
time,
asking
you go back to the '60s and the '70s. The rights movement kicking off, and was it trendy then? No.
A month ago, if one of those Indiana girls went to her coach and said, "Coach, I'm going to do this at the beginning of the game," she's not employed anymore. She's not Colin Kaepernick.
No.
So,
but he
someone else
started
did it. Yeah, that's right.
He started it.
That's right.
It's literally an earthquake effect because it hit
When
hard.
does it go away? When does it go away? I'm asking you that question.
No,
I think it's past being cool. I think it's now cliche.
I think we're heading there then already. I think you're right. I think it won't be much longer, and then no one will care anymore.
No. I think it's snowballing.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a cliche. I don't think it's trendy. I think it's like people are taking more recognition, especially with that idiot cop 2 days ago that shoots a dude that says, "Hey, I ran out of gas on the side of the road." He gets tased and then shot. And she's like, "Oh yeah, well, I thought my life was in danger."
No, now when they came out and said she meant to grab her taser and she grabbed the gun on accident.
Right, that's a great cover up because they feel the
cops,
scene.
Right?
Yeah,
that's worse. I'd rather say I feared for my life than I grabbed the wrong.
I can't defend that, and I'm not defending
that. And
that.
that's what they're kneeling for is that crap right there. These cops are getting away with murder. I know it sucks to hear that, but literally that dude said, "I have no gas," and she grabs what she thought was her taser, pulled it out intelligently, pointed it at arm's length, and didn't realize that's her gun from me to you in my hand, and squeezes off around? Don't think so.
It takes a special person to be a police officer or a firefighter.
Right now, as far as I'm concerned, it takes a real asshole to be a police officer. I'm sorry. Next time I get pulled over, I'm cracking my window, and you get 2 inches. Say your piece, write me my ticket, and that's it.
We're going to see Brian on the news.
You probably will.
And in local news.
Yeah. I mean, I know some cops that are really great, but I can count on one hand on my 36 years of being on this planet, being pulled over, doing an overnighter or two, I can count on one hand how many decent, respectful ones there were. The last time I got stopped, because I rolled through the stoplight, which technically you ran the light. I came up to it, looked to my right, looked to my left, and made my right-hand turn. I didn't come to a complete stop. So I get stopped, and this is last month. And license registration, you know why I pulled you over? Yeah, I rolled through the light. No, you ran it. Okay, well, we say roll where I come from. Well, where are you from? Michigan. Yeah, well, we don't drive like that down here. Okay, cool. Not a problem. Here's my info. Comes back to my vehicle, taps on the window. Mr. Gould, can you step out, please? Why? Can you follow orders? Sure. I get out. There's 2 more squad cars behind his. There's Lurch, that's 6'8", and then there's wannabe Lurch, that's 6'5", 6'4", and Lurch, that's 6'8", all jacked up. And I'm in a tank top and swim trunks because I just came from a pool party, and I'm ripped, ready for my match, So I've been hulking out, and can I have you step to the front of my car, please? And I'm like, dude, what's going on? And he's like, well, for safety precautions, I'm going to have you out here with me. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not getting shot. What's the problem? And he's like, I need you to sign this ticket. You have a court appearance. And I'm like, court appearance for what? Well, your license is, the license is not suspended. And he's like, yeah, it is. I'm like, no, it's not. Show me where it is. And he's like, well, you have a court appearance on such and such date. And yeah, this is the crap that I just went through 2 weeks ago. I had to go through a court appearance. Long story short, I get yanked out of the car for his safety, and he called 2 other deputies at 9:30 at night.
It's a sensitive issue.
It's very.
I've known you a while, and I can appreciate the challenges that you've had as an African American, and as a human. Maybe you have it worse, or have had it worse than I have, as being white and being black. If you and I walk down the street and we walk down 100 streets, maybe you have more issues than I do. This is what is sensitive, because I can see the other side of. We're in Sarasota, Florida. Sarasota, Florida is not Harlem. It's not Alabama.
Nope.
It's not Crenshaw. It's not Arbor.
It's not Detroit.
It's not, because if we were in Detroit, it doesn't matter. As soon as they see a blemish on your record in the last 10 years, it's guilty until I can see that this guy isn't.
Yeah.
And it may not be right. It may not feel right that they stop you and say, hey, man, step out of the car. Come on over here, just to be safe. You're like, whoa, there's nothing to be unsafe about. If it isn't Brian Gould, if it's Jim Jones, and he has A, B, and C on a record that's 20 years old, 100% of what they don't take care of or protect, they put themselves into harm's way with.
Understand.
And I mean, I think that's where, because that to me, that's very sensitive. That, at what point are they not doing their job and they're harassing? Well, I have had an overnighter or two on my own side in 40 years. And I would get that same, they would beef with me like they beef with you, because they saw something that was 10 years ago. And what's the law of probability? The law of averages state that if this guy did this a decade ago, he's going to do it again.
Right.
That's what they
repeat offender. Yep. Yeah. No, I get that. In my driving record is 4 pages long. 4 pages of speeding tickets. That was the first 6 years I moved down here, which was ironically 16 years ago, which puts it at the 10-year mark. Yes.
What did you think about? I want to ask you a question. What did you think about at that stop? The first thing that went through your mind, was it, am I getting stopped? Are they going to beef with me because I'm black? Or are they going to beef with me because of my record? What first went through your mind with the recent...
When I saw the lights go on, I was like, damn. Well, he nabbed me for rolling through that stop, which I ran the light, fine, and pulled over. And it goes through the back of my mind, because I do have a horrible driving record in my 20s, moving down here in Florida. Everybody drives slow as hell. And I had a crap load of speeding tickets. I got my license suspended several times for getting too many points within a certain allotted amount of time. And my license even got revoked for up to 5 years, which I got reinstated a year later. And it goes through the back of my mind, okay, well, he's going to see all those speeding tickets. I drove like an ass for a better part of 6 years. So at least it wasn't a DUI. At least it wasn't a hit and run. It was just some dumb shit with a heavy foot that sped everywhere. And some cops do take a lot of offense to that, because you're putting other people's lives in danger. Understand that totally. More so now. I've got kids now. I don't drive that way. Sometimes when I want to get from point A to point B and I need to be there now, I might do that.
Do you want them doing that to other people that act like you used to act? As being a parent now, when you reflect, is some Johnny Jerkface that drives like you and I used to drive. Do you want them stopping that guy at the four-way that rolled through it?
To me, yes, but no. You rolled through. You didn't drive through. I get it, because I still get to the four-way stop. I glance and then go. Granted, I'm not going through the turn at 30 miles an hour like I used to, but, I get it. But it isn't a reason enough to say, okay, I see the guy's got 4 pages of speeding tickets and a handful of suspendeds on there. There's no DUI. There's no altercations. There's no probable cause to have to feel that your life's threatened, because my last legit ticket was almost 7 years ago. That had anything to do with speeding or seatbelt or anything, because I knocked that crap off when I hit my early 30s. So I get where you're coming from. I see where you're walking me down that path.
A plus B equals probable to them.
But to literally pull me out to sign a ticket and then set me up for a court appearance and then call Lurch 1 and 2, like, dude, I mean, this kid's 24, 25, and he might have been $150. I get it. But if you're $150 doing traffic stops from 8 at night till 6 in the morning, you probably shouldn't be $150, $160. You should be at the desk at the office. Put someone else in control.
Equality. Yeah. You could be a Latin girl that's 4.5 feet tall,
or
Lurch,
or have a co-pilot with you. I'm sorry. at first I wasn't offended because I literally put my hands on him like, dude, guys, really? It takes 3 of you to write me a ticket? And then I started thinking, I'm like, okay, I'm twice this guy's size. Now I see where this is going.
Right.
Come on. Keep me in the car, write my ticket, say sign here, don't run stoplights, and have a nice night.
Yeah, Johnny Jones, that's 80 years old, coming back from playing bingo at the VW, is not getting a second and third squad car called to that stop.
No, not at all. So, again, I mean, for those of you listening or just tuning in, we're talking about last night, the whole Indiana Fever WNBA team knelt before the game during the national anthem. This, it's again, I call it an earthquake effect. It literally has been since Cap sat down, and it's just been trembling through all the sports, through soccer, through basketball, and now the NBA's like freaking out because they're worried about, cities that we named, your Detroit, your Atlanta's, Los Angeles, teams that have some real deep ethnic roots to them. Teams are going to want to sit, and that sport's primarily a black ran sport, black played. It's just going to be a snowball effect. It's just going to keep going. Mm-hmm. And when does this run out? I think it runs out when you stop playing the national anthem for these games. Until then, there's no reason to stop. I don't see one.
If it's something that you believe in it.
Right.
There's a cost to doing business for everything. Walking in this building, getting up out of your bed, going and get your gas. You know that there's going to be a bill.
Yep.
Pay your bill. And if you know that going into it, then at least you know. There's no surprises.
Right. I mean, if that's the worst that comes of this, quote unquote worst, people kneeling, then let it go. Let it be. Let them do their thing. It's not changing the outcome of the game. If you don't like seeing it, then guess what? Then either start suspending players, which is going to affect your team, or you pull the national anthem off the card.
Sitting here now and going and having my opinion, it's different than the one that I had knee-jerk. The first day, the afternoon after he didn't stand for the anthem. Every house is on fire, and this guy's the Antichrist.
Burning jerseys, blah blah blah.
Look, that's not the message. Wasn't I hate military? I hate police.
Exactly.
And it took a minute, and that's why you shut your blanking mouth and you wait and you absorb the information that's there, without just saying blank, and then make an opinion based on the information. But it's hard, whether you have Irish blood or any other blood. You're going to have an opinion. I think there was a message that he was trying to get out that wasn't able to be received because it was the blender was on too high and you couldn't see what he was trying to say. Now I can look back and I can see that message better than I did when I first heard it.
Not to mention the series of events that have happened since then. A handful of police shootings, 3-4 of them have happened since then. Now all of a sudden people are like, whoa, hey, no, this guy's got something here.
I think we would, I don't say disagree. How many police officers are there in the country? I don't know that number, but it's a big number.
Right.
And every day, every week, there's altercations. And I have had a handshake or two that I didn't want to have with police officers in my time. I had an officer stamp out a cigarette in my hand and told me that smoking was bad for your health, a-hole. And that happened at night when I'm wearing a shirt and tie. Because I was in a place that they were, coincidence has, like a gang fight that night. They were tipped off. The whole units, plural, are there. And they're not going to go home empty-handed. They waited and waited, and it never transpired. The gang got hip to this. They got some information. They didn't go. I happened to be there with some other people, and because we looked similar, maybe there was a shirt, maybe there was a gold tooth or two, maybe there was a tattoo or 6, maybe there was some conversations that other people may have, and they made a play on us with no precedent for no reason.
Right.
If I'm not there, but aren't I allowed to be in a park at 7:00 at night? Well,
depending on what neighborhood you're in.
But I shouldn't have to wonder who I'm with or where I am if I'm keeping the law and being in a place that I'm allowed to be in.
Right.
But I got beef. I got problems. the cops all over the country, they have a decision to make. They did some kind of report, or they tried. You do 100. These police officers, they have to go through a simulation, and they have a split second to make that decision. And they have to pull their weapon, or they have to make a decision based on what they see right then and there.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't get questions. They don't get to stop and ask the person what time it is or what are you doing here. They have to make a play. Good guy, bad guy. Pull the trigger. Not pull the trigger. And their decisions that they make will put them in a police uniform or not.
Right.
And they said it's very, very stressful. And the people that protest and picket, they put them in this simulation. So here you go.
And they bombed.
Yeah. And they said, man, I'm sorry. I didn't know it felt like this. Because it's always easy to scream, hey man, why are you doing this? Why are you shooting that innocent guy that, had a jug of chocolate milk? Well, because that guy has been arrested 3 times for PCP in the last 5 years. And he has, a bunch of tattoos on his arms that look like gang related. His back light's blown out. Look, it's not right that they shoot people. They're not all bad. I mean, all the politicians are crooked. Have you ever watched House of Cards and look at a politician again?
Right.
Because you couldn't.
No.
God bless Kevin Spacey in that, man. That's a
excellent series.
It's a good role.
Well, speaking of surveys, Yahoo did a survey. 44% of NFL fans will stop watching if these protests keep going on.
How many percent?
44% of the fans that they surveyed said that they will stop.
Yeah, that depends on where you are.
They'll say that, but shenanigans.
I'm like, this is ridiculous. It's getting out of hand quick. It's a social issue that's being addressed in sports, and it sucks as a sports fan having to keep coming back and beating this dead horse.
One guy in Busch Gardens with a red T-shirt that says Santa Claus, and you blink and there's 1,000 people, and you can't see that guy anymore as well because it blends into the rest of the people that are there that don't have the same message that he's on. That's my analogy. It's going to go away. I hope that everybody can appreciate the message that he actually is trying to get out. Like, there's shady cops. Stop hurting people, white or black. I mean, you and I have been through Sarasota for over a decade, almost 2 decades.
Almost 2, yep.
And we've seen people pulled over and like, man, that's foul. Look at homeboy, But if they don't, that guy they're doing a job that's difficult.
And I get that, and I respect that. But then, some of these stories that come out where a cop just blatantly, the dude had no gas and was asking for help, and you shot him, you idiot. There's no split-second decision there. There's a dude saying, I need your help. And it's, sir, get back, or else pop. Done. Come on.
Who put her in that position?
She did. She shouldn't have stopped them.
Who gave her the job? I mean, that's bad.
I mean, you go all the way up the tree with that one if you want, but it sucks because, I hate to keep looking at it from a negative Nelly standpoint, Debbie Downer, the bad cops, but that's what's getting reported. That's what we see every day now, or every other day. Now we've got a protest riot in Carolina, and it's not going away. This kneeling for the national anthem, it goes away when the national anthem goes away. I hate to say that we're going to be talking about or seeing this, maybe not talking about it. We're going to be seeing this for the next 5 years, easily, hands down. And now teams are doing it, and that was the first complete team last night.
You remember the book Funny Farm with the pigs?
I saw the movie,
and they were pigs, and
Chevy
then
Chase.
that's a little different. Yeah. The funny Animal Farm, pardon me, Animal Farm. It was required reading when I was a kid, way back before the paper and pen, and Animal Farm had these pigs that they had adults there. And then they were walking on their hind feet, and they said anybody that does this, is going to be killed and put away to the pasture and never allowed back again. Anyway, they ended up turning into exactly what they protested against and what they fought against. And at the end of the book, they're acting exactly like the humans were, and that's what I'm saying is that at the end of it, what are you protesting and what are you believing in? I hope it's the same thing that they started with.
Well, we'll see what happens. Like I said, the whole team sat and nailed down last night. And staying with basketball, then we'll move on. Kevin Garnett's contract is being more or less negotiated to the point where he can retire now from the Minnesota Timberwolves. So 5 years from now, when these three names pop up, Kevin Garnett, Tim Duncan, Kobe Bryant are all eligible for the Hall of Fame.
Sure.
11 titles amongst the three of them. Well, one of them had less than the others, but Kobe, Garnett, both came straight out of high school. And for those three to go into the Hall of Fame, that's a really unique and great trio. Looking back, I did some research here. 1980, Jerry Lucas, Oscar Robinson, Jerry West. Is that trio better than Garnett, Duncan, and Bryant?
Well, it's a different time. Come on.
Yes or no?
No way.
Okay. 2006, Barkley, Dumars, Neek.
You know how much I'm a Neek fan. But, my skin actually is an Atlanta jersey. No way. It's still
2008, Ewing, Dantley, Olajuwon.
Closer. No.
Okay. This one you might tip your hat on. 8 titles with these guys. 2009, Stockton, Robinson, Jordan. 11 titles and 2 straight out of high school.
I'll give.
I don't know. Stockton.
The second, Kevin Garnett came out of high school, and Kobe came out of high school.
Yeah, and then recently this year, Shaq, Iverson, and Ming. Better than that trio.
Well, no, Ming is. It's not an NBA. He's not an NBA Hall of Fame. He's a basketball Hall of Fame. Is that right?
This is a basketball.
I got you.
Yeah.
No, I those mean something to me. Those other people have really accomplished some. I mean, Duncan was all ACC. He had such an incredible career in college, and then followed that up by having one of the greatest professional runs in basketball. I watch basketball for a few days now. And I was raised on Kevin McHale and Robert Parrish in good basketball. We've had this conversation.
Yep.
That to me is good basketball. I don't mind the new stuff. It's new stuff. I don't like the new stuff like I like the old stuff. You tell me what's better than watching Detroit and Boston from any 80s
throwing
series.
Elbows, clotheslines, running down the lane, and
Nothing.
you see Bird on his back.
Or the Lakers in Boston.
Lambeer, yeah.
You don't get that basketball anymore. It's different basketball, so appreciate it and move on. Those guys play basketball.
That might have been the last of that era, when that era came to an end.
Mm-hmm.
Garnett, Duncan, and Bryant, when they first got into the league. That was right at the end of that era.
That's what I feel the transition was. It was going from, what I call the good stuff into
tempo,
something modern.
Mm-hmm. The tempo changed drastically, because after that, then you had...
It was clear outs and 2 steps. And
Ray Allen, Iverson coming through.
Timmy Hardaway.
Darius Miles, Anthony Hardaway, Do
you remember Timmy? Do you remember Hardaway?
Yeah, the crossover.
He had the UTEP 2-step, is what they called
that.
He was really, he was one of the first guys. That's the guy. Nick Van Exel, Nick Van Smack. He just would run his mouth. But that UTEP, that 2-step, it was something that Timmy had before it was cool to have a 2-step. Before it was, the AI show and everybody's showboating. Clear out. Let me have a, one-on-one and play basketball.
Yeah, that's it. So, if Garnett, which he probably will, call it a day, congrats on...
I want to ask you something, Brian. You're a Detroit fan. I say Detroit. It's not Detroit. It's Detroit.
Yeah.
Dumars, Isaiah, Lambeer, Sally, Rodman. Who do they not lose to in this year's NBA?
If that team played this year's team?
Yeah.
Who would they not lose to?
They play the way they played. They play the way that you and I watched.
They'd beat everybody.
Everybody.
Yeah. There isn't a team that they would lose to.
No. You have, and the enforcer, the
Lambeer.
Mahorn
Rick
was
Mahorn
in there.
Coming off the bench.
And the other dude that used to roll dice, and pulled guns on people when they didn't pay. He had high stuff.
We had Mark Aguirre on that team. We had a bench too.
Vinny Johnson, right?
Who?
Vinny Johnson too?
Vinny Johnson.
Or was he later?
Vinny Johnson. Was he there? Vinny Johnson.
Oh man.
The microwave?
The microwave. Yeah.
You
know what?
Later?
Yeah, he was there for a minute. He
was there for a minute.
Yeah. I think he was there for that run. The microwave. That's right. Wow, that's unbelievable. You know that. That caught me off guard.
Well, no, I remember from the Bulls. I grew up in Chicago. So,
got Paulie in the studio here, guys.
So, hello, everybody.
Hey, Paulie.
But I remember for those days from Chicago and Detroit.
Yeah.
Back
yeah, that was a heated rivalry, too.
Yeah, it was. There was great playoffs.
Do you think about your basketball team that you watched when you watch basketball now?
No. It's a different game now. I agree with what you were saying earlier. Mm-hmm. All that time with Jordan and Isaiah and I mean, all those guys. Bird, Magic.
Every team had a name on it, and that's what I liked about it. Because you could say Washington Bullets had...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Malone. Had Bernard King.
That's right, yeah. You could say Seattle Supersonics. Sean Kemp, Gary Payton. You know, they had at least one name. There was at least one name on every team. You know, Atlanta had Dominique. Boston had too many names to list. You know, the Lakers, even the Clippers had Danny Manning. I mean, every team had a name that you knew, and it was great to watch.
And the teams that won, you knew almost everybody that was of their starting five because because they passed the ball. You know, some guys played more defense, some guys scored more points, but you knew almost everybody on those teams.
Yeah, you're right.
Even if you hated them.
Sure, I watched basketball 4 days a week back when it was the Bulls and Atlanta, and it was TBS. And if it wasn't that, then I had my Detroit and Boston. I knew everybody from the Chicago team. All of them.
NBA on NBC every Sunday. They had a marquee matchup of some sort at that point in time.
Well, Purdue and Cartwright, the way that he would make that free throw.
Man, he held the ball 15 feet over his head and just flicked his wrist.
Yep.
Man, Vinny Johnson, yeah. Mark Aguirre used to shoot that from behind his head, too. Come up and over. Had such a wild shot. Well, let's take a quick break here. When we get back from the break, touch on some MMA news, NFL. Don King drops the N-bomb introducing Trump. How does that guy even have a promoter's license anymore? We'll figure that out in a minute. This is the Brian Gould Show. We'll be right back.
I'm Dr. Sean Stringer. Me and Dr. Philip Nikeo are the newest members of the 444 radio lineup. We'll cover weight loss, health issues, mental health issues, and we'll talk with top health, wellness, and personal development gurus in the industry. You can even call in with your questions and much, much more. Trust me, I'm a doctor. Wednesday nights from 7 to 9 on 444 Radio.
Come out to J-Dub's Brewery on Saturday, September 24, 2016 from 6 to 10 p.m. for Our Rhymes and Beer, a music and art series that features artists, musicians, and local businesses joining together for a charitable cause. A silent art auction and raffle benefits Any Given Child Sarasota, an organization that is changing young lives through the arts in Sarasota School. Our Rhymes and Beer is sponsored by Art and Frame of Sarasota, Kimmel Lumber, and Bobcat Disposal. For more information, go to facebook.com/artrhymesandbeer or email artrhymesandbeer@gmail.com.
Evan, we've lived here 6 months and this bathroom still looks terrible. You're supposed to help me remodel it by now.
I know. You just know how busy I am, though.
Busy? We've got to get this done. If I can't do it because I don't have time and you don't have time, what are we going to do?
I know who to call.
Hello, my name is Stephen Dennis. I own a business here in town called Needaman2 LLC. My email address is needaman2@gmail.com. My number is 941-232-2776. Again, that's 941-232-2776.
Oh my gosh, this looks amazing.
What a great idea.
How you doing? This is Chuck from the BS Show. I would like to tell you about a great company, Sarasota Sign Machine, LLC, the exclusive sign and print sponsor for 444 Radio. A sign of quality you can trust, located at 601 North Washington Boulevard, celebrating 6 years in business and over 20 years of experience in Sarasota. If you need signs, banners, vehicle magnets, custom design, neon repair, business cards, printing, and more, trust the Sarasota Sign Machine. Look, let's be honest. You have so much more to think about when running your own business. Call us at 941-302-4275. Check us out on Facebook or at SarasotaSignMachine.com. A sign of quality you can trust. Tell them the BS Show sent you.
So, Evan, you want to make the other announcement? I know you're excited and happy.
We do have a fantastic new sponsor. Absolutely. We are now very lucky to have Rico's Pizza as a sponsor for us. 6547 Gateway Avenue in Gulfgate. They're open from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m., 7 days a week. They've been there 17 years. Jump online, ricospizza2go.com. Give them a phone call at 941-922-9604. We did find out today that you mentioned the 444 Radio or the BS show from 444 Radio. You will get 20% off your tab. Give them a phone call, guys, 941-922-9604. Or ricospizza2go.com.
Hello, this is Captain Sherman of Paradise Boat Tours, and if you're looking for a great adventure on our beautiful local waters, then we are the boat tour for you. Check out our website at seadolphins.com. We leave 7 days a week from Bradenton Beach Pier on beautiful Anna Maria Island. It's fun for the whole family, and yes, we see wild dolphin 95% of our tours. Paradise Boat Tours. Call us at 941-465-8624. Like us on Facebook or go to seadolphins.com. Here, Flipper.
Hey, this is Paulie from the BS Show. When I'm out and about, having too many, it happens to us all, there's only one cab service I call. It's my ride. 941-400-6606. No more three-time surcharges. No more drivers that don't speak English, don't know where you're going. They pick you up. They take you home safely, clean cars. They're professionals. They know exactly what they're doing. And when you're riding with My Ride, don't forget to mention the BS Show, 20% off your ride. Chucky, on occasion, will have too much.
Not me, Paul.
These guys are the best. They're what you want to call. They will take care of you. 941-400-6606. My Ride. It's not your ride. It's not his ride.
My ride.
It's my ride.
Hey, guys. How we doing? This is Evan from the Bee and the Soup Bed Show. I'm here with Rita from J-Dub's Brewing Company, and we're in studio. How are we doing today, Rita?
Good. How are you?
Excellent. Hey, I know you have a fantastic brewery over there. Please tell me a little bit about it.
The brewery itself has a tasting room. It has 10 tap lines, so you can find anything that you want, from a light to a dark flavor.
So whatever you like, you can get it?
Absolutely. We got a flavor for you.
Perfect. Also, tell me a little bit about the beer garden I'm hearing so much about.
We got a big backyard out back. We're kid-friendly. We're dog-friendly, so you can come bring your family and friends and just have a good time, play some games, and drink some beer.
Excellent. And then you guys got food?
Absolutely. We got food trucks every day around 5 o'clock. We're open Wednesday through Sunday, noon to midnight.
Excellent. Hey, I hear a rumor that you guys do something cool over there on Wednesdays.
We do. We have free yoga on Wednesday evening starting at 6:30. Come hang out and drink a beer and stretch it out.
And that sounds like a great way to spend a Wednesday, I'll tell you. It's 1215 Mango Avenue, Sarasota, Florida, 941-955-2739. And what about social media?
Go to jdubsbrewing.com and you'll find everything right there.
You guys are by far the best brewery in town, and we're proud to have you guys as our sponsor. Come on out there, have a drink with us, and we'll sit around and have a good time.
Cheers, guys.
This is Chuck from the BS Show. I wanted to take some time to talk about a great charity organization, the Honor Flight. This organization flies our veterans to Washington, D.C. to visit those memorials dedicated to honor the service and sacrifices of themselves and their friends. Please come out and drink some beers at Hurricane Mike's on the last Saturday of every month from 1 to 6. Hurricane Mike's has a guest bartender at each event, 50-50 raffles, liquor baskets, and silent auctions. The bartenders even donate all the tips they make that day. Hurricane Mike's is located at 2639 Mall Drive in Gulfgate. Last month, Hurricane Mike's raised over $1,100 for the Honor Flight. From everyone here at 444 Radio and Hurricane Mike's, we want to thank you for your support of our vets.
Gulfgate, Sarasota, it's time to eat, and there's only one place to go. Ham Heaven and Devil Dogs, 2647 Mall Drive in Gulfgate. Try the one-of-a-kind filet mignon sliders or the award-winning Reuben sandwich, voted best in the state of Florida. Ham Heaven and Devil Dogs is open Monday through Saturday till 3 a.m. So after the bars close, you can get some of the best food in Sarasota. Call in and place your order today at 941-923-2514. That's 941-923-2514. Check them out online at hamheavenanddevildogs.webs.com or on facebook.com/HH&DD.
Hey, yo, this is the Brian Gould Sports Show edition on 444 Radio. I had Paulie just join us here
Hello,
before
everybody.
break. Let's jump into some football here in a second. MMA news. Yesterday, the UFC announced 5 fights signed for UFC 205 at Madison Square Garden on November 12th, which is pretty cool because that's the first time that they've been there since like UFC 3 or 4. And now that it's sanctioned and regulated, now they'll be there on a regular basis. So pretty cool to see that the UFC can finally buckle down and get moving along with that. They've been trying to get in there in the state of New York for several years now, but the state wouldn't recognize MMA as a real sport and sanction it there till I think it was April. They finally lifted the ban on that. So congrats to Dana White and the UFC finally getting that pushed along. Notable fights, Frankie Edgar is going to take on Jeremy Stevens, which will be a really good fight. Rashard Evans is taking on Tim Kennedy, another good fight. Tim Boschel versus Rafael Natal, that'll be a good fight. And couple other ones there not really worth mentioning right now, but at least they're starting to fill up the card. And staying in the world of combat sports, good old boxing promoter Don King accidentally slips with the N-bomb while introducing Trump. That was kind of funny. I don't know if you saw the video. If you haven't seen it, it's on my website, briangouldshow.com. You can see it there in the Twitter feed. And he's talking about how he was going over a story where he was talking to Michael Jackson way back when, that if you're broke, then you're a broke Negro, except he didn't use the word Negro. And he's like, but when you're a rich Negro, you're a rich Negro. Now let me get on to this. And he slipped and said it, the N-bomb, and then he's like, oh, I'm sorry. And then, there's a bunch of laughing and stuff. Don King, greatest promoter of all time for boxing, or just most recognizable?
He's the greatest promoter.
Are you?
Oh. He did horrible things.
A lot.
Charged Tyson $2,800 for a toilet seat lid. Okay.
Smartest. Maybe not even horrible, just business smart. Hey, if you're dumb enough to give me $2,800 for a toilet seat, Paulie, because of whatever reason I give you, and you do it, is it because you're dumb and I'm a thief, or I'm smart and you just gave me the money?
You know what? I think in this case, I think it's him taking advantage.
He did take advantage.
Price gouging.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. Well,
Julio Cesar Chavez.
Hurricane season selling car chargers for $40 cash.
Yeah. Okay, look, man.
Yeah.
Let's not
before you finish this next statement. Yeah, remember that. Okay, I'll give you a deal, $30. But if you come back next week with the power on, it's $20. I mean, it's $30.
It was gouging a little bit. I think the term is gouging.
Yes, it is.
But I was offering. I mean, if the person that you're speaking about,
we couldn't fit through the doors walking out of Fort Myers corporate because our pockets were stuffed so much. We had to turn sideways to walk out the door. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oops,
we offered a service
because I got there after you did, after you left there, and got to play that one hurricane season.
Mm-hmm. It was. If I'm driving from Sarasota, Florida, down to Port Charlotte, I love to give, and the Peace Corps and I shake hands once in a while, and I am not on the Peace Corps.
No.
There's no T-shirt that says I work for free, because I do not.
No.
So I
Neither
drove
does
down
Don
there,
King.
And Don doesn't. So it was messed up, and it was 40 years ago, 50 years ago. There was no anybody to govern him and his decision making and his exploitations, and he certainly took advantage of the Latin community. He took advantage of some African Americans and white guys that just didn't know any better. All they knew was how to throw a hook.
If you could blink and pee, he was taking advantage of you.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he did.
Yeah. Didn't matter.
He did.
Who, what, where, and why. And I get it from a business standpoint. Like, if the money's there to just grab and rake off the table, and you're not going to stop me until you finally get fed up with it, I'm going to do it till you finally get fed up with it. Would I personally do that? No, but I see what he was doing. His philosophy, quote unquote, was get paid.
What's the best price? You promote a wrestling gig, okay?
Yep.
Will you do a wrestling gig next week for $2,000? You're going to get $2,000. I'm going to put $2,000 in your pocket next week that you do not have in your pocket right now. Sign here. I'll make that deal with you at whatever price that you finally say, you know what, man, that's a great idea. I'll take that gig. You don't know that I'm making 10 on the backside, and then I'm going to tax you for 20% of your $2,000 on the front side. Now, after the fight goes off, and you see me walk away with my briefcase, whoa, man, what are you doing? I'm doing business. You said yes to $2,000. I didn't stick a gun to your head and say, hey, man, take the money.
Right.
I showed you you sell the sizzle, not the steak. He did some things past. I don't think that, $2,800 for a toilet lid is appropriate. But Mike said, okay. Julio said, okay. And that's too bad because they didn't have people that were taking care of them. That's an old man came into one of my cell phone stores years ago and said about the $40. We used to charge $40 for a faceplate. A Mickey Mouse faceplate was $110 for the Nokia 5100s. $140, $150, and I'm not lying to you. The Donald Duck and the Minnie Mouse, they went for $75 or $80 because they weren't the Mickey Mouse. I charged $150 to Euros that would come over here and want Mickey Mouse, which was licensed, a Disney product.
Yep.
And it was an OEM, and it came in a Disney package. I mean, I didn't pay $8 for these faceplates.
Not even.
But they said, thank you, I'll take 3. Okay.
Cool.
That's what it is.
$100 processing fees. What's that? For you to put your name, your address, your social on that sheet of paper, and for me to type it in the computer.
But that old man came in.
$100.
That old man came in and he said, I just changed my. He lives over here in the Oaks, where he used to. I mean, he was an old guy when I met him, and he had a printer that broke, and he owned a newspaper, and so he had to pay $250,000 for this new printer. And he looked at me dead in my eyes and told me the story. He said, I just bought a new printer, and it cost me $250,000. As soon as the salesperson left and the ink was still on the paper, they rolled into my office and said, what in the hell are you doing? Do you realize the money that guy is going to make on that printer that you just spent $250,000 on? And he looked at them. He says, do you know the money that I'm not going to lose by having that printer working? He says, I don't worry about what the other guy's making. I worry about what I get away from the transaction.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Don King.
Good old Don.
Yeah.
Sammy Jackson played an awesome Don King in The Great White Hype. Allegedly.
Yeah.
That's the good stuff.
NFL news. Adrian Peterson is done. And I'm stuck with that guy.
Do you think he has taken his last snap?
As am I.
I think we might have seen him in a Vikings jersey for the last time this season.
I'd hate to see...
You can't keep taking the cap hit anymore. You just can't. You don't have a healthy Adrian Peterson, and it's not his fault. Stuff happens. And Joe was like, oh, he's always hurt. We were talking about it yesterday. I'm like, yeah, it's not like he's out catching pneumonia, running around in the snow in his boxers, doing it on purpose. It's fluke injuries. Some people are just injury fluke
He's susceptible
prone.
to them. Look at his age. He's done things with his body that no one else has been able to come back from. And at the time, Deuce McAllister, there's a lot of guys that have blown out their knee, and he came back months later and ran the league. Yeah. Not just casually kind of chipped in. I mean, he ran the league.
Well, right after he served his suspension, but
okay, maybe someone taught. No, I won't.
Yeah,
I'll shut my mouth on that deal. But it'd be sad to see his last game, him being carted off. I think he deserves better than that.
I think he'll be back, but I just don't see the Vikings continue carrying that salary of his. Mm-mm. There's no point.
Yeah, the old AP's gone.
At this point, you have to take that off the table and say, yeah, now you gotta try again.
So no AP and no Teddy Bridgewater, and that team's stroking out.
And they're still pushing along.
They're 2-0.
Yeah, I think they win that division. I really do. Detroit plays Green Bay this weekend, and it's a battle of the 1-1s, and they got to play each other one more time. I think they split that series. I think Minnesota's in the best case scenario to win that division overall. I definitely don't see Chicago putting up a fight. So
Bears are awful.
Yeah,
they're just flat out. They're awful.
They just brought up Matt Barkley to.
Whoa, that's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
So that's my gift to you today. That was free of charge.
Wow.
They brought him off the practice squad this morning or last night to back up Brian Hoyer. Yeah, so if Hoyer goes down,
Cutler would hurt his hand. I believe they were saying he was game to game or day.
Yeah, he's day to day.
this is his last year as well.
Yes.
He's done. They're done with his contract.
They can't carry. Yeah, I was just going to say they can't keep carrying that. That's just a waste. Cut the guy. Drop him. Yeah, when your boy quits on you, then let him be a undisclosed injury. Put him on IR for the rest of the season and just chalk it up. Done.
Yeah, write it off.
Yep. Unfortunate. Since 2006, guys, there's only been 2 games where the Patriots were home underdogs. Both were in 2014. The first one was against the first one was against Denver. They were a 2-point underdog at home against Denver, and they won by 3. Same season, they were a 2.5-point underdog to Cincy, and they beat them by 24.
You remember that?
Tonight, they are now a 1-point dog. It's gone from 2-1, 1-2, 2-1. Now it's 1-point underdog to Houston at home on the Thursday night game, which you can watch on my website, BrianGouldShow.com. Twitter's broadcasting the game. There's a live feed right there. But a 1-point dog at home. It looks like the rookie's going to get the nod, but the last time that a rookie started for New England was 1993. Anybody know who that was?
93?
Yep.
Bledsoe?
Exactly. Yep. And Belichick, if Belichick pulls out this win tonight, which I think the Patriots are going to do, I think they're going to win. I think they win by 7 or 8 points. I think they win that game. Houston's going to throw their defense right at that rookie and get surprised. They're going to get blindsided by something. Belichick will find a way to win, and I think he wins. With Belichick winning tonight as a coach, he now becomes tied for 4th all-time wins as a head coach in the NFL. He ties Curly Lambeau, and, of course, going up from there at 3rd, Tom Landry, 2nd, George Hollis, and number 1, good old Don Shula. So with a win tonight, he goes to 4th all-time tied, and he's creeping up on Landry pretty quick. Houston, 1-point favorite in New England. What do you guys think about that?
It's in Foxborough,
mm-hmm.
So that's the Foxborough mystique. It's the pixie dust of Bill that has everybody over the years. Who else is a bigger mastermind that you fear more than Bill in 10 years, 20 years? In
the NFL,
Shula?
In the NFL,
tell me,
that's the guy.
That's the guy.
That's the guy.
He can do things with smoke and mirrors and make you look at 20 guys on the defense,
mm-hmm. regardless
of the stupid deflates and all the I hate New England people out there
Haters.
That may or may not wear blue headphones.
Haters.
It's those guys. They still have to respect the fact that that's the best coach. I like Cowler. I thought that he was a good coach
right.
for Pittsburgh. He did some things. He schemed. He would, he was in a lab.
Mm-hmm.
He was in a lab cooking something up. Bill's a lunatic. That guy has got admission one, a one-man lab in there that no one else knows about. He's able to do things that baffle me.
I almost feel at times like watching him on the sideline, he's already thinking about 4 games from now.
Yes.
Yeah, I got this one won. Yeah, 3rd quarter in that one, 4th quarter, and blah blah blah. Okay, 3 games from now, 4 games. Okay, now we're playing Denver. Blah. He's way like
doesn't even
just the
seem like
look
he's
on
right
his
there, is
face
it?
Is so unique.
It's interesting because you're right. There is no coach that going into Foxborough or your team is playing New England and you're like, damn it. He's gonna throw something, even if you're supposed to win, which is obviously not very often. But he just comes up with a different game plan, a different play or something, even with a rookie quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I do like New England to win tonight, but I've always hated betting on rookie quarterbacks.
Yes.
I've always hated it. I'm an under guy tonight. I don't know what the under is.
Mm-hmm.
But if there are anybody wagering, if anybody's in Vegas listening, I would say New England and the under.
Now, tell me, Paulie, why? Other than Is it because
the over/under's 40.5 right now?
40.5.
40.5.
So 21-20 is the winner on the north end of that, and underneath.
I just think that
why? Why is it?
Because I don't think that it's going to be a big scoring, a lot of driving. I think it's going to be kind of an ugly game. I think it's going to be a defensive game because Houston does have a good defense. I just think that Belichick's going to pull. It's going to be kind of an ugly. You know
what? With Belichick, though, going along with what you're saying, he's so systematic. Like, this is the system we're going to implement. This is the system that's worked for me. This is what's got me to the Super Bowl. Whether it's Tom Brady, Paulie, Jay, or Eric up in row 7, section 213, this system works. And when Houston starts exploiting, they're rushing from here, they're covering there. Guess what? I have another page in my playbook, and we're going to establish this part into the system. He's got a system that's undeniable.
My question
goes going to work, and it doesn't matter who's at quarterback.
Well, you tell me, Brian. You tell me, Paulie. That's my question. You're missing a starter from the line. You're missing a starter from the linebacker, and you're missing another starter. You're missing 3 players on the defense that normally hike. When the ball is hiked, they go towards a direction. So you have 3 starters that are not playing. You don't have a healthy Gronk who may not even play at all, and a kid from NC State that's never snapped a ball. So that's going against a Houston defense which looks legitimate. And again, this is just a question. It's not that I like the Pats. I think they have a great team. I'm trying to wrap my head around the perception as to what is making this number so low. Lamar Miller carrying the ball 25 times, 30 times. I mean, the guy's running the ball all over the place. Miami wasn't able to do that in the last week because they were down so much. I think that Lamar is going to be able to run that ball tonight. I think that Fuller and D-Hop is too much for the corners. I think that the quarterback is better than New England's quarterback. So how is that not a 13-point blowout? It's not a 13-point blowout because Belichick is better than 13-point blowouts at home.
Yes.
Right? Because of history, because of the way that he's done business for as long as he's been there. He doesn't get embarrassed. He doesn't get beat. He's too smart to do that. So even when he's going to lose the game, he doesn't lose the game.
No.
If this was anybody but New England, Houston against I don't know, Minnesota's. I'm all over Houston.
Yeah.
In the same scenario.
But it's because it's New England.
Yeah, yes. I don't know why.
And that's I'm trying to crack that nut.
Because New England's proven, regardless of who's there, and of course it's been Tom Brady forever, and Bill's coaching, and Garoppolo goes down. And now we've got some rookie quarterback that no one's ever seen play. So there's no footage on the guy. We don't know his system, how he, his tendencies, so on and so forth, that you kind of need to know to play. So as much as Houston has an advantage, they're at a disadvantage because they don't know anything about this kid at a professional level. They don't have game film on him. They don't have practice film. They don't have anything on him.
Home field advantage is worth 3 points. They say
right out the gate.
It's more than that in Foxborough.
Yes.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Maybe that's 6 points. Maybe that's a touchdown. And your coach, if that's worth whatever, that coach has got to be worth 2 or 3 points in this one. So I can see where a 13-point, if they were playing Indianapolis in Indy with, a third string quarterback, man, they're going to kick their teeth in.
Oh yeah.
Houston's
not a bad team.
No.
Right.
So that
But they're also not proven.
Yeah,
to
it's
beat
je ne
the
sais quoi.
Patriots.
I don't know quite what it is about that Foxborough deal, but there's something to it. I don't believe in doofers, and I don't believe in they've only lost at home once a year for since I've shaved. I get it. There has to be something to that.
Well, last season they actually lost back-to-back games twice for the first time. They lost back-to-back game for the first time in like 3 or 4 or 5 seasons. I forget what the number was, and then they closed out the season with back-to-back losses, which they lost. They hadn't done since earlier that season, but
I don't know.
It's
this is like a made for TV movie. That the third string quarterback is there, and the coach is gonna with his ripped up, vest.
Patriots win 24-10. Patriots win 24-10.
You make me laugh.
It goes against Vegas. Those few lines a year where it goes against common sense, everything that you're thinking, and this is one of those lines. How the hell are they? Houston should be. I think Houston should be favored by. If they were playing Indianapolis, for example, they have to be favored by 6-7 points.
Mm-hmm. I don't see how this is not. If you ripped off the names of the building, and you said third string quarterback, second rusher in football, best 1-2 wide receiver, arguable, in the league.
Right.
How is that not translate to 10 points, 13 points?
Yeah.
We're going to find out tonight.
The other way.
I'm afraid to play it, brother.
That's why it's 1 point. That's why Vegas does that, because it's got us quadruple guessing ourselves.
I want to shove aggressive. I need a dump truck with the way I won last weekend. I need a wheelbarrow to help me move my chips from my vault to the table to play tonight. I'm a money management guy. You play one play, I make a 1 unit play on a game. I don't then turn and play a 4 unit play on the next one because I'm up. You'll go broke like that. Man, how is it?
Quickly.
It's tough not to push chips in the middle of the table tonight with that Houston team. I'm going to have to be careful. Coming here tomorrow and struggling.
And speaking of, we won't get into all the games, but just a marquee game, you've got the rivalry, Washington and the Giants. Josh Norman is ready to impose his will on Odell Beckham Jr.
Those guys are tired of hearing about the last year thing. They don't like each other.
No.
But that's all the media can talk about. Shut up, man. Let me play football.
All of a sudden now Washington's going to allow Norman to cover the best receiver because they had that opportunity last week, and they had it the week before and didn't capitalize on either one of those.
They didn't do it in week 1. They let Breeland do it because Josh had a side to play. And it wasn't because it's Antonio Brown.
It should have been because it's Antonio
They should have let him, but that's hindsight. Now they look back and say, wow, we filled the bed on that deal.
And then they did it again in the second week.
Let's let the guy play wherever he needs to play against the best guy because they were exposed for making a bad decision.
That makes no sense not to do it.
Coaching, how do you pay that guy to come in to the team and not cover the best player? He was arguably one of the best corners in football last year.
Right, yeah.
So how do you not have him cover the best player?
That makes sense to me.
And that was the decision that they make because people make bad decisions, and Washington loves to make bad decisions. I'm a Redskin fan, so I have to clean up that mess and out of shame when I'm wearing my Redskin. Yeah, I know Snyder's a jerk.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah. He's going to be able to cover, Odell this weekend. Good rivalry game, though.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch. I'm going to give you my quick Power 10 ranking, and then we'll get into
this is going to be good, Jay.
Throwback Thursday. Still sitting at number 1, I have Denver. Until they're beat, they are the champs, and they will remain at number 1 until they get beat. Number 2, Power 10, Pittsburgh. Defense looks good. The offense is clicking. James Jones looks like a great tight end since Heath Miller stepped down. Number 3, New England. Coaching is getting these guys through, and they've got a big test against Houston. They beat Houston. They're undefeated as well. You can't deny what's there. Number 4, Carolina. The explosive offense is showing, and it showed against the 49ers. They need to keep that tempo up for the rest of the season and prove to us that they weren't a one-hit wonder from last season. I've got Houston at 5, and we'll know at the end of tonight whether they belong in the top 10 or not. Giants at 6. Their defense is carrying them through a lot of great scenarios and to a quick 2-0 start. Number 7, Minnesota. No AP might ground these guys after this weekend, but with a big win over rival Green Bay, that helped put them in my top 10. Number 8, Arizona. They lost a tough first game and then turned it around against a weak Bucks team, which they should have. They shouldn't have given the Bucks a chance to be in that game, and they didn't. So they're still one of the best teams in that NFC. Number 9, Green Bay. They need to find some offense and find it quick. Otherwise, it's going to be a very long season, and they won't be in the top 10. And number 10, Philly. They're 2-0 with a rookie quarterback that has yet to throw an interception. Now comes the Steelers, a real test, and we'll see if they'll be here next week in the top 10. Honorable mentions, Baltimore and Oakland. And the crowd goes silent.
You know, honorable mention is your... Who is the guy that put together your intervention for later today?
Yeah, I don't think I'll be participating in that.
God bless you. It's gonna be another
power
no
rankings.
Show.
Sorry,
your power rankings. No, they're your rankings, and I get to smile out of that. That's God bless you.
Who's the best team in football right now? It's not the defending champs.
No, Denver's playing.
Yes or no?
Good
I
football.
need an explanation.
I told you last week that I can get behind. I can support beating the champ is the only way to be the champ.
That's it.
Woo!
Exactly. All right, pens and papers handy. This is the Thursday throwback segment where I give you 3 sports entities. I give you 3 clues on each one, and then at the end we try to figure out who had guessed the right answer here. So for the first one, it is a person, not a team. Clue number 1. I won the Heisman my junior year, 1989. Clue number 2. I was selected to the Pro Bowl in all 10 seasons that I played, and played all but one in 93 due to an injury. Hint number 3. In 1997, I set this rushing record where I rushed for over 2,000 yards. Go through them again. Clue number 1. I won the Heisman my junior year, 1989. Clue number 2. I was selected to the Pro Bowl in all 10 seasons that I played, and I actually sat out in 93 due to injury. Clue number 3. In 1997, I set the rushing record when I rushed for over 2,000 yards in a season. Want to take a stab at it there, Paulie? Write anything down? Not sure?
Well, I'm going to write something down, but...
All right. All right, moving on to the next one. This is a team. We went 8-0 in the Olympics and won the gold medal. We've been referenced as... All right, clue number 2. We've been referenced as the cocky champions of our era. Clue number 3. This was David Robinson's 3rd time playing for our country on this team.
Could you repeat the questions? And what is is it a team or is it
It's a team. Clue number 1. We went 8-0 in the Olympics and won the gold medal. Clue number 2. We've been referenced as the cocky champions of our era. Clue number 3. This was David Robinson's 3rd time playing for our country on this particular team.
We're looking for the year?
No, the team.
Okay.
Want me to read them again?
No.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Don't need the year, just the team. All right, moving on to the next one. And last. I'm considered one of the greatest defensemen of all times. Clue number 2. I played from 1979 to 2001, where I finally won a Stanley Cup on the second team I played for, which was the Colorado Avalanche. Clue number 3. I wore number 7, but surrendered it in a game in the 1988 season by skating over and taking off my jersey and giving it to Hall of Famer Phil Esposito. The only person ever to do that in all of sports, which was pretty cool. Read them off again. Clue number 1. I'm considered one of the greatest defensemen of all times. Clue number 2. I played from 79 to 2001, where I finally won a Stanley Cup on the second team I played for, which was the Colorado Avalanche. Clue number 3. I wore number 7, but I surrendered it before a game in the 1988 season by skating over and taking off my jersey and handing it to Hall of Famer Phil Esposito. All set? Okay. I'm just giving you guys some time. Okay. Number 1. What do you guys have?
89?
The very first clue, or very first person.
Barry Sanders?
Correct.
I did not have Barry Sanders.
Who'd you have? Did you get a...
I drew a blank.
Drew a blank?
I drew a total blank.
You had Barry Sanders? Okay. Throwback number 2 was a team. Anybody have it? What do you have?
It was the Olympic team.
Right.
But it was referenced as a team.
I had men's basketball.
Team.
Well, the Olympic team, they're called Dream Teams. I don't know what else to
It was
put.
Dream Team 2. Yes, correct. Yes.
Okay.
Boom.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the third one was a person.
Man, I tried to
This
go back
I didn't
to
even...
the Joe Sakic, Patrick Waugh. Who else was on that?
I was trying to think, too.
That's 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like Ray Bork or anything.
Bingo. You got it. It's Ray Bork. Yep.
He
played
wow,
his whole...
Paulie just got it?
Well
he
done,
played
Paulie.
his whole,
Nice.
whole career in Boston, and then he went to
Son of a
Colorado,
gun.
played 2
That's who that
seasons. The
was.
last season, when they played New Jersey in the Stanley Cup, it went 7 games. Ray Bork scored 3 game-winning goals in that series. That gave them 3 out of their 4 wins to win the Stanley Cup. But back in '88, he had already been wearing number 7, and he was already 9 years into his career with the Bruins. And Boston decided to retire number 7 because it was Phil Esposito. So what no one knew is he put on 77 as a jersey and put 7 on over top of it. And when they announced that they were retiring it for Esposito, he literally skated over, took 7 off his back, handed him the jersey, and said, "Thank you, this is your number," and wore 77 from that point on.
That's cool.
Yeah, really cool. So there you go, guys. Another Thursday throwback. I've been making them a little tougher. Barry Sanders apparently was a little too easy for a couple of them.
Well,
here.
for some of us.
Dream Team 2.
Do you know how many boxes of 89 Pro Set I opened? I worked at a video store making $2.50 an hour, and they had these boxes of cards. I think it was $4 an hour then, but whatever it was. And I would practically work for the discount to buy these Pro Sets. Barry Sanders and Thurman Thomas, same team, Oklahoma State. Madness. Oh man, if you didn't like the first one, you'd hate the second one.
Yeah, that I remember that era because like getting a Barry Sanders rookie card, that was automatic. It was worth $5
Yep.
right out the gate.
That 89 score, they were $50, $80. You can buy them now for 50 cents. But that Thurman Thomas at $45 and $75,
yeah,
paid for a lot of my lunches.
Well, guys, another great day. Thank you for listening. This is the Brian Gould Show Sports Edition on 444 Radio. For Jay, Murdoch, and good old Polly stopping in today.
Thanks for having me, Bubba.
Thank you for coming in. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Georgia Tech at home tonight.